This is Chinnor Community Orchard, and the story with our involvement, which is Green in Chinnor, was about 3 years ago where the Chiltern Conservation Board spoke to the parish council and said to them, if you don't do anything about this orchard, in 5 years it's going to be gone, because it was just covered in ivy, brambles and stinging nettles. And parish council came to us and said, we're Green in Chinnor, what can you do? And so we shuddered. Then went up and had a look, and we wrote a proposal and got a very generous grant as part of the Chalk Cherries and Chairs project, and we've got a 15-year tenancy with Chinnor Parish Council from the local landowner, and the rest is history. Right, so on this spot there were 3 cottages. There was up to 31 people lived here at one time, and they pulled them down in the 1920s, just after the First World War. So all of these apple trees, 19 apple trees here, were planted. We think the last of the newest was about 1880, 1890. So I would say that all of these fruit trees here are at least 130 years old. So they're not new, so you wouldn't find a Gala or a Braeburn or a Spartan. It's all things like Lane's Prince Albert. Now, Prince Albert was Victoria's husband, and he died in 1861 ish. So, you know, the very old varieties. I mean, behind you is a Worcester pearmain, and that was, I think they discovered that about 1880. You look at this and think, why is it still alive? You know, because it's fallen over, it's not doing anything, there's bits. But when we first came in here, we probably only saw that bit, because everything else was just covered in brambles, bits and pieces. But now we've opened it up and cleared it, we're absolutely covered in blossom. And this is a beauty of Bath. We've had the chairman of, this doesn't roll off the tongue at all, we've had the chairman of the Royal Horticultural Society fruit section identifying apples. So of the 19 trees, we've probably identified about 11 or 12 of them. Some of them are Bramleys, but we've got some quite rare varieties here, and there's some we haven't identified yet. Yeah, and this guy's wonderful. He's got all these ancient books, and he's chopping the apples up and counting the pips and smelling it, and also and we take pictures of the blossom and the leaves and how they're done, and so we're gradually identifying them. And we had a bit of damage last year because of mulchjack, but now the fence is up. They're growing really well. But you think that tree's bad? Look at this one. There's no middle, and look at that. And all of this is coming from that. Yeah, they really are great. And then if you have a look around the base, there's tons of new growth coming up. Now, these old trees were not grafted. They original rootstock, so that's true. So it's not as if it's a sucker. It's the real thing. So you know, these trees are going absolutely mad. Now up here, we've got a real rarity. A couple over there, but this is the Chinnor plum. And there's only one of them. This is the only place they grow. Now if you look in that corner there, there's some elm trees. If you look at some of our old photographs, and they've probably got them down there, you've got pictures of the from the 1880s. There's elm trees growing up in that corner there. Now we all know that the Dutch elm disease got all the elm trees in the 1970s. But what happens is that all the trees were killed, and then from the root stock you got new growth coming up. So those trees there are descendants, or genetically the same trees that were there in the 19th century. So you look at the thick pictures and you think, oh, that's elms. Now we know that that's true because those are wych elms. The common elm is a sand elm, and I'm just going to do this. Sand elms grow like this, yeah? Wych elms grow like that. So if you ever look at all the branches, they grow up, yeah? So those are wych elms, and so we're comfortable that they're the same trees, or they're great grandchildren of the ones that originally here. More than likely, with human nature being human nature, in the 1860s, late 1860s, early 1870s, they built a railway down there. This was quite a thoroughfare with flints coming down from up there, wood from bodgers. So I wouldn't mind betting the cottagers' wives were out there flogging them apple pies, jam, you know, you name it. So, yeah, people live very much survival living, you know, so they would have made the most of it, you know. So, you know, they would have had their Chinnor jars full of jam, fruit puree, you know, because, you know, food was common in the summer, and then you had to last the winter every year. So I would imagine that they were using them. Right, this is a really uncommon tree. This is a spindle. It's not uncommon in the orchard, but it's uncommon in the area, and it's a local tree, and it's called spindle because it used to be used for spindles, and it's extremely hard wood, and it does the most. Now it looks pretty nondescript, but if you were to come here in September, covered in lovely red heart-shaped berries, red and orange they are, red. And we've got quite a few of them. But here's another tree that you think is absolutely on death's door, but it's sending out shoots absolutely everywhere. Right, I'll take you over to one of my failures. Now there's an ash tree. Lovely ash tree. I just don't know how long we're going to be gifted with that. Welcome. And everybody's quite pleased, you know, with the way it's coming along, and you know, we get a lot of support from the parish council. They've paid for the gate. District council paid for couple of benches that's gone in here. You know, we get an awful lot of support from the village. Awful lot. In a week or two, we'll have a working party here, and we'll be clear the nettles a bit, clear down there. You know, we've just planted a hedge during the winter. You know, just you get a group of them might have chopped a bit more of the ivy off. You know, it's gradually sort of. Yeah. We normally have at least 12 people come along, and yes.
And what do you do? Give them cups of tea?
Oh dear, yeah, cups of tea. We're very lucky because like Laura's on the refreshment. She's the best biscuit maker in the village. Oh, the biscuits you die for. But we've got see the lady with the bobble hat there. She's the leading local botanist, and so she's been doing we've got a little group together, and they've been surveying all the plants that's in here. Now we thought it was only going to be ivy, nettles and brambles. They're up to I think 76 different plants they found here, and I've got a friend who's a lichenologist. She came in, we've got 36 mosses and lichens in here. we want it just here as a proper, open space. We had a wassail here in January. We had 99 people came. This will be as part of Chinnor Open Gardens. We'll have a fruit pressing in September. We're apple pressing, and so we just want people. The ideal thing would be to have a concert or something in here. People bring their picnics, and can you imagine that on a June evening? If you sign up to our newsletter,
Exactly what he does.